Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to a new episode of my community question series. This is episode 39, and the question for today's video that I want to ask you guys is, do you think you will ever be satisfied with your collection? Do you think you'll be content with the collection that you have built up over the years? Is there a point you think where you'll finally just be like, yeah, I'm happy with my collection, it's great? Or do you think that you'll never be satisfied with the collection and that you'll always be working on it, always tweaking it, adding to it, subtracting from it? I would love to know your guys' thoughts on this question. You guys can answer the question as a comment. You can also answer the question as a video response. Maybe this is one of those questions you feel like you want to talk more on the subject and you'd like to film a video response. Feel free. I would love to check it out. I just ask that if you do film a video response that you let me know about it. That way I can check it out, and I'll post a link to your video response as a comment. Don't forget that there is a contest I will be holding at the end of this question series, and the main prize will be giving away a console. Now, I have recently picked up an Xbox 360 and a Nintendo Wii, so I've got two consoles so far for the contest. I'm looking into adding a few other consoles, like maybe a Dreamcast or an original Xbox or something, but the main winner will be able to pick their choice of that console with some games, and then also have some other winners who will be able to pick some games for their collection. You guys can get an entry by doing a video response. You can also get an entry by leaving a comment. You don't have to do both. You can do one or the other. You also can go back at any time before my contest has concluded and answer any of the previous 38 questions that I've asked you guys that you might have missed out on. Don't feel bad if this is the first one you're seeing of my community question series. I've been doing this for like 3 years now. I know it's been a long time. It's been kind of a slow process with these questions, but it's one I've really enjoyed. I just love this series, and I've had a lot of fun interacting with you guys. So feel free to go back and answer any of the questions you missed, and you can get additional entries into the contest. As long as the contest hasn't concluded, you guys can easily go back and answer those, film video responses. It doesn't matter if it's question 1 or 10, 15, whatever it is. If you missed it and you would like to participate, feel free to go back. Would love to hear your guys' answers to those older questions. Of course, you guys know I always give you guys my answer to the question as well. So, answer the question, do I feel satisfied with my collection? And I am definitely very satisfied with the collection that I have built up over the years. I've been collecting for a very long time, really hardcore since the early 2000s. I've achieved quite a few goals that I wanted for my collection, which my biggest goal for a while was to complete my North American original Xbox set, and I did that years ago. Had a lot of fun with that collection, and it was a lot of fun taking the time to research games, and I was learning a lot of information about the original Xbox that had been lost over the years. I connected with a lot of people online, and it just was a really fun journey. And for me, that is been completed. I did get a little crazy into variants and stuff and import titles for a while, but even that I had to just rein that in, because you can just let it go into the stratosphere with the crazy variants you're looking for. This one has a book, or this one has a sticker on the label, this one has a different disc art or something. You can kind of justify anything when it comes to variants if you really want to keep collecting, but eventually I had to get that reined in. And last year, I decided to start thinning out my collection, as it is large. It was like over 7,000 games, and I actually got rid of over 1,000 games from my collection. Now, most of these were trash titles that I have picked up in lots, extra deals. Sometimes you have to buy a couple games and they throw in a few free, that kind of thing. And I just was starting to get rid of games that I knew I was not going to play, like a Barbie game, or a Mary-Kate and Ashley Sweet 16, or a Franklin the Turtle game for PS2. So I started going through and like, okay, I don't want this game, I don't want that game. And then I started looking for like doubles, like, okay, well, I have Dead to Rights on the original Xbox, I've got Dead to Rights on PlayStation 2. Do I really need 2 copies of it? No. And then there were some games that I actually had 3 copies of, because I had an original Xbox, I had a Nintendo GameCube, and the PlayStation 2, and so I decided to keep just the best version, which usually is the original Xbox. Now, there are some games I made an exception for, like Gauntlet Dark Legacy. I have that on PlayStation 2, the GameCube, and the original Xbox, because all 3 versions are a little bit different. They have different content, so I made exceptions for those. Certain games that I really love, like Scarface, I'll have on the original Xbox and PS2. But I started going through and, like, I don't need multiple copies of the same game. And then it was the same thing I started doing with my PlayStation 3 collection. I already have it on 360 because, I love the PlayStation 3, I love PlayStation 4, but I love to keep those systems as exclusives. So, like, I like to play the exclusive games on those that I can't get on the Xbox platform, and then I save the Xbox platform for most of the multi-plat games. So like a Call of Duty or something, I prefer to play it on the Xbox 360 over PS3, on the Xbox One and Series over the PS4, that kind of thing. So I started going through those collections as well. Like PS4, like, okay, well, I have Witcher 3 already on Xbox One, and I can play it on my Series X. I don't need it on PS4 because I'm never going to play it because it's way too long of a game to play twice for myself. So I said, well, let's get rid of that. I don't need that game. And so I just started going through console by console, finding stuff I don't want. Like, yeah, I don't like this game. Yeah, I don't like this game. I don't want to have this anymore. And it ended up being like 1,000 games, and I've got boxes here. Now, I haven't taken the time to actually take them to the game store to sell them off. Some of them I actually piled up into a box for my contests that I'm holding, the 2,000 subscriber contest. I took some of those, but I still have all these games to eventually take to the store. And what I want to do, though, is before I take anything to the game store, is I want to open it up to you guys with the extras and stuff that I have built up over the years, and let you guys have first dibs for selling and trading and stuff, and then eventually I'll take it all to the game store to sell off, because there are some bunch of crappy sports games and kid games, but I do have some doubles of original Xbox titles that I got really good deals on years ago, like, some of the Halos, and you got your Gears of War, and Tomb Raiders, and stuff like that. So there are some decent titles. It's just they're doubles, so I don't need them. So I'm getting rid of those as well. And I've got a lot of original Xbox doubles that I picked up cheap back in the day that I'd like to offer to you guys. So I was going through also finding doubles of stuff. Like, oh, I don't need 2 of this. I don't need 3 of this. Geez, when did I get extra of this? And so I started going through different consoles like that and purged through. So I purged through Xbox 360. I just started getting rid of all the sports games except for NBA 2K. Now, that's a series that's close to my heart. I love the basketball series, love basketball games. I've been playing them since NBA 2K on Dreamcast. I would love to have the entire series. Now, that's one exception I make there. I have a couple football games here and there, Maddens that I'll play, but I got rid of all like the soccer games I know I'm not going to play. I got rid of all of the baseball games. I just got rid of stuff I'm never going to play on 360, and I purged a lot of games from that. I went through PlayStation 1 and purged a lot of crappy games and sports titles that I knew I would never play. Things like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, an old TV show game that, I played it back in the day. It was fun, but now it's like, nah, I'm never going to play it. So I started going through and getting rid of that stuff. Went through my GameCube collection, which isn't huge. Just a little over like 100 some titles, and I started getting rid of stuff in there that I didn't want anymore. Like, I don't need this, I don't need that. And then I started doing that with my Nintendo DS collection, and I started getting rid of garbage games there that I didn't want. And then I really purged a lot from my Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance collections, and I was just finding games like, oh yeah, I don't want this, I don't want that, I'll never play this, that's boring, don't need it, that's a double. And so it just started really building up. It's like, man, look at all these games I'm getting rid of. Like, geez, it's like over 1,000 already. And that was for me purging, like, pretty much getting rid of all the junk titles. I still have a massive collection. There's still a lot of games here that I have in my collection, and I'll continue through the next several years of going through and purging down stuff, because I do still have a bunch of stuff in storage that I have to take the time to open up the boxes and go through more and check for doubles and stuff. Like, I know I've got some Sega Genesis doubles as well that I need to eventually locate and then get rid of those as well. But overall, though, I am very satisfied with the collection I've built up over the years. As you get older, your priorities start changing. When I was younger, it was just I wanted to buy everything under the sun, and you're getting games for $1.50 and a quarter, and you're finding them at the thrift stores and yard sales all the time. And this was back before it was popular now, so it was real easy to find stuff, but it was easy for it to build, because you're like, it's only $1, it's only $2, it's only $5, $3. But you do that 3,000 or 4,000 times, that adds up quickly with the amount of stuff you're pulling in and space it takes up and the money you're spending. Those little purchases do add up, and so you have to eventually start getting selective, and that's where I'm like, I gotta decide I can't be collecting for the rest of my life. Also, with the way we're going in modern gaming, as far as my tastes in gaming are going, you know, I find less and less stuff that I want to buy in today's market, which I had somebody recently ask me a question if I thought I'd be, you know, gaming in the next several years as far as, and maybe jumping into like 10th gen, and realistically, I don't know if I'm going to, especially if we go to this all digital. And I had made a video about the digital future and small print runs and that kind of stuff. And, you know, I really don't see myself continuing too much further with gaming as it is. As in these modern times, I keep finding less and less games every year that I want to play for modern consoles. And I have to go back to previous generations to find games that really interest me. You know, I'll pre-order a couple games and stuff. Like I got a couple examples down here that came out this year that I think are really awesome. One I didn't pre-order and one I did pre-order. I got an example like this Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of the Dragons I have for Nintendo Switch. You know, I picked this up this year after I found out it had been released. And, you know, it's something that's a really fun game. You know, it's not one that's going to take hours and hours of side-scrolling, beat 'em up with old school graphics and stuff. And I picked it up because it was just really fun. You could play it multiplayer and stuff. Another one here I did pre-order, and you guys will see this in my next pickups video, is RoboCop Rogue City. You know, I've been looking forward to this game forever since it was announced that they were working on a RoboCop title. I knew I wanted to have this because this was created by the developer Teon, who made that wonderful Terminator Resistance game, and so I knew this would be amazing. And it's 100% single player focus, no multiplayer aspect to it at all, and they did an amazing job with the game, and I love it. It's really awesome. You know, there's just a few other games that have come out this year, like the Dead Space remake I wanted to get, was awesome, got that and beat it. I do want to get that Resident Evil 4 remake. I do want to get the new Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I do want to get the Wolong Dynasty game that came out. And eventually I will be getting, whenever it comes out, the Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. But, you know, there's just so many games out there that just don't interest me. Like Call of Duty, I love playing those games for their campaign. But if, you know, the new ones don't have it, I'm not going to pick it up, as I don't play the multiplayer anymore. You know, I used to be big in it. I was an Xbox Live beta tester back in the day. I still have my orange memory card. Used to love playing Mech Assault Online and Halo 2 and Gears of War, and I played John Woo's Stranglehold Online. You know, I just used to love playing competitive multiplayer matches. It was a fun thing to do, but these days, you know, I just don't have the time for it, don't have the skills anymore for it, you know, don't have the time to devote to getting really good at some of these multiplayer games, and I just don't find them fun. I just like being able to play my single player games. So with the way our focus is going in modern gaming is more of like games as a service, more online focused. And I understand why, because that's where the money is. You know, people paying for map packs and digital content and V-Bucks in games and skins and stuff. I understand that's where the money is. And it's targeted to a younger audience who likes that. You know, they're not targeting to guys that are almost 40 like me. You know, it's the guys, the teenagers and 20-somethings, you know, those are the ones that like these competitive multiplayer games, their Fortnites and stuff. And so that's where the money is. They're going to go target the people who are spending money on it. Guys like me aren't spending money like that, so they're not going to be targeting me as that. And it just is what it is. You know, you just have to accept that as you get older, your tastes change and gaming is moving on beyond you. But you always have the fun of being able to play the stuff you already have. And so that's where I'm at with modern gaming. Like, I had somebody ask me if I was ever going to get a PlayStation 5, and I've thought about it, but I asked myself, do I want to spend $500 or $600 on a PlayStation 5 and only be able to play a couple games that I really want? Because I would only play the exclusive titles on PlayStation 5. I have the Series X, so I have no need to have cross-bundled gen games. You know, I don't need to have Call of Duty on Series X and Call of Duty on PlayStation 5 type of thing. You know, I would just keep PlayStation 5 for its exclusives. But I can't find enough exclusives like Spider-Man 2, the new God of War, the Demon's Souls remake. You know, that's like 3 I can think of. Other than that, I can't really think of any more games for PlayStation 5 that would justify me spending that kind of money when I could take that $500, $600 and use that to buy games for the Series X that I'd really love, or the Nintendo Switch, because I do love my Nintendo Switch as well. So I just don't see myself really getting one of those. And when we do eventually go to 100% digital, that's when I'm just going to be done with gaming and just stick to what I've already built up and collected. And I am looking, you know, to go back to games I might have missed for say PlayStation 3, 360, PS4, Xbox One, and I'm starting to go back and discover titles that I had missed. But one of my largest collections is my Xbox 360 collection. I have a pretty decent PlayStation 2 collection as well, and then my largest one by far is my original Xbox set, and that's only because I have a complete North American set. But as I get older, I just find less and less games that I like, and it's okay. I'm not upset by it. I mean, it's actually kind of good in a way, like, 'cause there's just only so much time in our life to play gaming, and, I can't just chase new games for the rest of my life. It is what it is, and I'm very well aware of that, and I've just had to make a stand, like with Alan Wake 2 being digital only. I'm just never going to buy it or touch it. I just got to stick to my guns of I would only buy it if it had a physical release. It's digital only. I don't want to support that. It's great for people who do. Don't get me wrong. It's great. I know people love digital, but I just love my physical stuff. It's kind of an old man thing to stick to. But for me, I just got to stick to what I want and what I want to support. I don't want to support digital only, so I just won't buy games that are digital only. So I'll probably never play Alan Wake 2, but that's okay. There's so many other games for me to play and experience. So for me, I really am satisfied with the collection I've built up, and I urge you to, depending on where you are in life. Now, we're not all in the same part of our life. I mean, if you're just starting out collecting, teenage or early 20s or something, that's a whole different story. You're just building your collection now and discovering what games you liked as a kid and building up stuff like that. I can understand that's a different aspect. But when you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s and you've grown up many years with this stuff, most of us have already built up a decent-sized collection of games, and we only have so much time to play it. And so you have to ask yourself, am I just going to keep collecting endlessly forever and just constantly add games, never be satisfied with the collection, just always wanting more, and it just leads you down a path of never being satisfied, never enjoying your games, especially if you're spending more time buying them than you are playing them. Because I did make a goal a few years ago, and I created a series called my Weekly Gaming Playlist series, which I share every Friday, the games I've been playing during the week with you guys. And I created that series and goal for me to start playing these games. I'm buying them, adding them to my collection. Well, they're meant to be played. And so I'm starting to focus more on playing games than buying them. Like, I haven't actually gone out game hunting, I think, in like 2 months. I've gone to GameStop, to pick up the pre-order, like the RoboCop, and picked up a game here and there. But, going to the game store, just hunting and traveling around and that stuff, I really haven't done that, as I've been more playing games because I really am happy with the collection. Like, if I didn't add another game today, I would be okay. I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd have so many games to play as it is. Just on this, these shelves here, there's a lot of games just to play on there that I would be satisfied with, and I wouldn't have to add. Right now, my goal with collecting is I'm just picking up a few of these new games coming out, and then I'm going back to games that I have missed that people have recommended to me and researching stuff like that. But overall, I really am satisfied with the collection that I have built up, and it's one that I urge you to think of for yourself. Set some goals when it comes to collecting. Don't go crazy like I did doing any kind of full set collecting and getting junk titles you don't need. Just focus on the games you truly want to play and experience, and just pick a few consoles and get games for that, and then take the time to play and enjoy them. You don't want it to just blow by you. Life is too short to not enjoy yourself and not enjoy this hobby. We can get really caught up and addicted to the whole buying games and showing off and bragging about it and stuff. You want to just, take a chance, step back, and ask yourself, am I happy with this collection? Am I enjoying it? Will I ever be enjoying with it? So I would love to know your guys' answer, though. Do you think you'll ever be satisfied with your collection, or do you think you might be collecting endlessly until the day you die? Or are you going to be kind of like me, where you reached a point where you're happy with the collection you have, and you'll just be adding titles here and there? I would love to know your guys' answer to this question. You guys can answer it as a comment. You can also film a video response. I just ask if you do film a video response to let me know about it. That way I can check it out. And you can do both. Don't forget that you do get entries into my contest. 1 entry for a comment, 1 entry for a video response, so that'll give you 2 entries per video. You guys can go back at any time as long as my contest hasn't concluded and answer those other 38 questions and get additional entries into the contest, because the grand prize for that will be a console and some games, and then there'll be some other winners who will be able to win some game prizes as well, gift cards, that kind of thing. But love to hear from you guys, always do. You guys are amazing. Keep participating, and I look forward to hearing your guys' answers, reading your comments, watching your videos. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, have an amazing day, and Sleepy, we'll see you next time.